Well, hello, my name is Mike Koenigs, and you're watching You Everywhere Now TV. Today we're talking about what you need to do to wow your audience with your talks. And this is something that can be used for public speaking. It's also ultimately about what do you need to do that's going to get and keep people engaged. Because after all, the human brain is lizard-like in nature, okay? It reacts to fast-moving objects, and it's basically, is that thing gonna kill me? Is it something I can eat? Is it something I can mate with? Or some variation of that theme. So in order to get and keep someone's attention, we gotta use story. And one of the best story structures that was originally created by Joseph Campbell is the hero's journey. Now, I'm gonna give you my variation on that so you don't have to read this entire gigantic book. But a great hero's journey comes up with some kind of irrefutable proof. It's some sort of a transformational story, some sort of physical proof, or some kind of social proof, a blueprint that is repeatable and executable. In other words, it's a system because that's what people want and see. Now, social proof, the guy who really brought this concept to light in recent times is a guy named Robert Cialdini, and he says, and I quote, "People will do things that they see other people doing." Now, he's a social psychologist, and he wrote a book called Influence, the Science and Practice of Influence, and also Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. Now, I'm going to give you a structure of a talk that's worked for me over and over again, and here's how it goes. You begin with an attention-grabbing statement. So, for example, one that I've used before is how I met the actor Richard Dreyfuss on a plane and convinced him to spend a day with me in my studio. I'm going to show you some before and after pictures to support that. Now, the big promise behind that is I'm going to share with you a simple sentence that you can use to grab the attention of anyone, even an Academy Award-winning actor, celebrity, influencer, or CEO, and have them beg you to spend time or work with them. Okay? So, the format and structure that you use, generally speaking, in a presentation is, why should you listen to me? And you give a brief overview. It's a basic, hey, I'm just like you. So you want to become relatable to the audience. Now, my core story that I tell, and it's absolutely true, is I grew up in a little tiny town called Eagle Lake, Minnesota. I barely passed high school. I never went to school. I had a D- average most of the time. And I was raised Catholic, and I was sent to parochial school. And for my brain type and my behavior, that is not a good place to send a rebellious person, because I rebelled. I spent more of my energy rebelling instead of doing good work and actually getting anything done. So I have some good stories that help with that, but usually I can make someone laugh and say, okay, he's a lot like me, or even I want to appear that I'm less than, okay? So the next thing is the here's how it went down. So the here's how it went down went something like this. I was on a plane, and I was sitting behind a couple people, and I overheard one of the people say, hey, do you see that guy over there? That's Richard Dreyfuss. And I was like, holy cow, the Close Encounters of the Third Kind guy. You know, he's been in tons of movies. Mr. Holland's Opus, great film. And I really find actors and celebrities interesting. We all do, okay? Let's face it. And the notion, the thought of having a connection, association with them is awesome. But I thought to myself, okay, what do I have that he might want or need? What could I do that would add some value to his life and maybe create a connection here? Because I have a studio. I'd love to interview him someday. I'd love to learn how he thinks, what he thinks about. All right. So here's what ended up happening. I did a little research on my phone, and I looked up something. I bumped into something that created a connection between the two of us. He has a nonprofit organization. And what's the number one thing all nonprofits have need for? It's money, okay? And it also turns out that he teaches an idea, a concept that I really connect with. It's this notion of civics. In other words, civic responsibility, how you can be a good citizen. And he's got a very compelling speech. And years ago, I heard him talk about this on a talk show. So on the way out, I thought, how can I introduce myself that's going to make an impression and get him to connect with me? So on the way out of the plane, I walked up and I said, Mr. Dreyfuss, my name's Mike Koenigs, and I have an idea about how you can raise money for your nonprofit. He stopped, he grabbed my hand, and he said, I need you. Well, that was a good way to get things rolling, right? And the way I set this up is I said, my wife is a nonprofit. I've helped her raise money over the past few years. We've done a lot of good work, and I've got some systems and some processes that I think could help you. He said, well, tell me more. So at that point, I pulled out, and this is another thing, I teach a strategy. I call it the $100,000 Sharpie pen. But the basic idea is if you're an author, you walk up, and if you've got a book that relates to someone, you can open up the book and you can say, well, I'll put my contact information in my book. And then I write down something like on page 129, there's an idea that will help you raise some money, make some money, lose weight, get healthier, live longer, whatever it is, whatever your big promise is in your book or any kind of marketing material. And again, I'm starting out with the presupposition. Yes, I had a book, but that in itself is a really easy process to learn how to do. If you've followed me at all, I talk about that, and I've helped hundreds of people, even thousands of people write books. So the bottom line, though, with Richard Dreyfuss is we wound up sitting down, and it turned out we were both on the next flight together. So he persuaded the stewardess to sit next to us and put us right next to each other. We sat and chatted for 3 hours. 1 week later, he was sitting down in my studio, and I was interviewing him. So the bottom line is that is a compelling story. It's got social proof. I've got video. I've got photographs. And look, you don't have to meet a celebrity on a plane and have a best-selling book and have some crazy rags to riches story in order to get people and grab them. You can take anything you've done that someone can relate to and make it interesting and fascinating. In fact, it could be as simple as how you walk along the beach and take a picture. For example, the other day I was with another friend of mine, John Assaraf. We're walking on the beach and we saw a skinny little seal there. I could turn that into a metaphor to teach or train some other topic together just with a photo. So the bottom line is you can take anything and make it memorable, but I do want to give you the magic sentence, the magic line that has helped me get in front of thousands of people. And it is, I have an idea to help you blank, blank, blank. Grow your business, earn more money, raise money for your nonprofit. Okay, it's not 3 words, but you get the idea. I have an idea to help you fill in the blanks here, okay? That has gotten me into more doors than you can possibly imagine, and it's also helped me connect with CEOs and VIPs and enable me to get in front of large audiences as well. So I hope you enjoyed this particular strategy, the system, and the story as well, and I hope you'll be able to use it in some way, shape, or form to grab the attention and keep the attention of an audience, whether it's online, on a stage, in a video, or in a podcast or an interview, however you decide to do it. Now, if you'd like more videos just like this, make sure you head over to youeverywherenow.com. Great ideas that'll help you grow your business.